Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to NXT February 19th, 2020 review. This is going to be a real quick video. There wasn't much to talk about NXT last night. Honestly, I mean, this is the episode after NXT TakeOver Portland. They did a lot of stuff at NXT TakeOver in Portland. A lot of guys sustained a lot of... Their bodies probably were banged up and really didn't get a whole lot in this show. The show was kind of somewhat alright, but not exactly great. But it's one episode after the NXT TakeOver show. Generally, in most cases, the episode after TakeOver ain't exactly the greatest episodes in the world anyway to begin with. So getting over emotional and feeling as if they dropped the ball on this one is not really something I'm going to do here. But I do expect next week's episode to be an improvement of this episode. Honestly, out of this entire show, the only thing that we really had worth watching was the Cruiserweight Championship match, which opened the show for a matchup. The segment with Tommaso Ciampa with Austin Theory, and also him stressing about Johnny Gargano screwing him over out of the world title. And then the main event with Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong. And that's pretty much this show in a nutshell. Overall, the rest of the show is take it or leave it. You didn't really miss much of anything, kind of thing. So to open up the show, they go ahead and have the Undisputed Era come down to the ring to officially kick off the show with Cole getting on the mic and brags about how he knew that he was going to retain the NXT World Championship. Cole calls himself the greatest NXT champion of all time, and the Undisputed Era are going nowhere. Cole starts talking up about Roderick Strong, about his match tonight, and passes off the mic to Strong so he could speak. Velveteen's Dream's music hits, and he cuts off Strong, challenging him to leave the rest of the Era backstage in their main event match. Strong says that he's going to make Dream wish that he never came back from injury. And they basically go to recapping what happened with Johnny Gargano screwing out Tommaso Ciampa in the NXT World Championship match. Coming back from break, they have the NXT Cruiserweight Championship match with Jordan Devlin versus Lio Rush for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship. This match was solid. I mean, it wasn't one of the best Cruiserweight matches I've seen since they had Cruiserweight Championship matches on the NXT shows, but it was okay nonetheless. Jordan Devlin, of course, retained his championship here. I think this match should have been saved and built up into a takeover show for Tampa. I think they would have done a great job building this up and made it a really important matchup. But unfortunately, that's not what they went with, and they just decided to have this match right off the bat. Jordan Devlin retains in a pretty solid Cruiserweight Championship match. Backstage, Raquel Gonzalez explains why she aligned herself with Dakota Kai. She understood Kai's frustration in seeing Tegan Nox chosen over her at War Games and understands why Kai turned on her. Gonzalez also could relate to her because she says she saw people get opportunities over her all the time at the Performance Center. So she was actually taking her side on this. This makes a little logical sense here for this all of a sudden out of nowhere thing. But why she was chosen to do it and not somebody who's actually been on television this whole time makes no sense to me. But hey, that's just my opinion. So William Regal comes up and congratulates Kai and Gonzalez, but announces that in 2 weeks, Kai and Nox will have a rematch in a steel cage match, which should be a good match. I don't know why this match wouldn't be used for a takeover show in Tampa and make this a part of the takeover show itself and make a steel cage match out of it. But hey, I mean, I've been talking and raving about the whole Hell in a Cell with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. So for them to have a steel cage match and a Hell in a Cell at the same time, I don't think would exactly work. But I don't think that Hell in a Cell pipe dream I got going on inside my head is ever going to happen in NXT anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Tommaso Ciampa shows up, arriving upset at Full Sail, and then they go to commercial break. Back from commercial, we see an interview with Rhea Ripley backstage at NXT TakeOver Portland, where Rhea says that she got what she wanted, a match against Charlotte Flair in WrestleMania for the NXT Women's Championship. Austin Theory comes down to the ring for a match, but Tommaso Ciampa follows and grabs a mic, circling the ring. Ciampa eventually enters the ring and tries to talk about Portland, and Theory gets in his face, and Ciampa tells him, "Not tonight, I'm telling you, man, not tonight." Theory backs off, and Ciampa talks about how he feels like he should have seen this coming, and he was so focused on capturing the championship he missed the small things, showing Johnny Gargano's true intentions. He says Gargano is one thing that goes hand in hand with Tommaso Ciampa and the NXT Championship, which is very true. He says that he isn't asking why. He said that he and Johnny both know why. Theory tries to surprise attack Ciampa, but Ciampa turns around and clocks Theory, and Ciampa gets back on the mic and says that in order to get his life back, there can be no Johnny Gargano in NXT. Ciampa tries to head up the ramp, but Austin Theory again tries to attack Tommaso Ciampa from behind. Ciampa has had enough, and he disseminates Theory, tossing him around the entire way, the entryway, tossing him into the crowd banner over and over again, and you get my point. So that's just pretty much what was written here in this article. Me personally, I think my friend Matt, him and I talked about this whole build-up and what they're gonna do. They are actually going to probably lead this to where Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa, loser, leaves NXT. And I think that's what's going to happen at Tampa. Based on what was said, that there can't be no Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa wants to become the champion. So he has to get rid of Johnny Gargano first before he can actually win the world title. So this is more than likely going to lead to a match where one of them will loser leaves NXT altogether, forcing Johnny Gargano to leave his home. And that's pretty much what we're going to get from this overall. So we're going to get a basic normal match with a stipulation where the loser leaves the NXT brand. And that's all. Raul Mendoza and Jaquan Wilde versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. These guys actually win this match. The Grizzled Young Veterans defeating Raul Mendoza and Jaquan Wilde. And then pretty much have made a statement on the NXT tag team division, saying they will kick anybody's ass, including the NXT Yanks, and defeating them, and even probably maybe talking about winning the NXT World Championship, which that match, them getting a shot at the World Tag Team titles on NXT, I think wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think Trent Seven and Tyler Bate versus Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle would be a better match because they have history, Pete Dunne with those two other guys from Mustache Mountain, so I think that would probably be a better idea. But, hey, we'll see what goes on. Like I said, this episode didn't reveal a whole lot leading into their new TakeOver event that's happening in April. So we'll just have to see how things go. From there, we had the Bruiserweights versus Danny Burch and Orny Lorcan. Now, this matchup would have been possibly a matchup you could have put on NXT TakeOver Tampa, with these two teams going at it for the NXT World Tag Team Championships. So, if that was to happen, I would have been okay with that. This match was okay. I didn't have any major issues with it. It was kind of a pretty standard, generic tag team matchup. Not bad wrestling. It just nothing really stood out. The match didn't go very long, and the Bruiserweights retain their the Broserweights retain their championships, or not retain their championships. They win their match. They weren't having their tag team titles on the line. So after the match, Riddle and Dunn celebrate in the crowd. Backstage, Roderick Strong tells Cole, Riley, and Fish that he wants to do this match by himself, and they accept his decision, and then they go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Jason Riker calls out the Grizzled Young Veterans, defending the U.S. from the statements made by the Grizzled Young Veterans, finally saying, "You want to send a message? Message received." NXT North American Champion Keith Lee comes out, and we see clips from his appearance on the WWE Backstage. As he comes down to the ring, and Lee grabs the mic in the ring, but before he can speak, Kona Reeves comes out with a new look, which he looks even more bland than he did before, and quite frankly, I can't stomach the guy. I think he's an absolute loser. Reeves turns his back on Lee and grabs a mic, but Lee hits Reeves with a pounce, and Lee says, "You can ring the bell." Immediately, Lee gets Reeves on his shoulder and hits a Big Bang catastrophe and pinning Reeves for the 1-2-3. Keith Lee winning in less than 10 seconds. Thank God for that. After the match was over, Dominik Dijakovic enters the ring with a mic, saying that he isn't ready to let Lee go, as if they're in some kind of love relationship or something. It's bad choice of words in my opinion, but hey, it's just me. He says that he and Lee both know that Dijakovic had Lee beat. Lee says Dijakovic is just coming up with excuses. Lee says that the fact of the matter is that Lee won, but he says that he always is up for a challenge, saying, "If you can talk Regal into it, we can fight forever." And Lee walks up the ramp and backstage, and we go to commercials break. Back from the commercials, and we go right into the next match, which was Caden Carter and Chelsea Green. You could have taken this match and threw it in the fucking garbage can. I did not care for it, did not even pay attention. Chelsea Green wins. Up next was Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong going one-on-one, and then they go to commercial break before they start the match. Back from the commercial break, and Tommaso Ciampa will go one-on-one with Austin Theory next week, which should be a pretty damn good match. Also, Finn Balor will be in action 2 weeks from last night's episode, and Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai will face off in a steel cage match at that point in that main event. So we go straight to the main event, Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. When Roderick Strong comes down to the ring, he looks much more focused and sincere than his usual cocky demeanor typical portrays. Dream escapes the ring at the beginning of the match, getting in Strong's head. Strong tries to take down Dream with a leg, but Dream blocks. Strong retreats outside the ring, and Dream taunts Strong repeatedly from the inside the ring. Dream takes off his weighted belt and tries to hit Strong with it, but the referee takes it from him. When Strong gets back in the ring, Dream and Strong both go for the leg locks on each other. Strong goes for a lariat, but Strong ducks and escapes the ring. Strong goes for a lariat, but Strong ducks and escapes the ring. Okay, that made no fucking sense. I think the writer of this article really fucked up. It should be Dream goes for a lariat, but Strong ducks and escapes the ring. So, Strong gives chase and Dream re-enters the ring. Strong follows and Dream hits a Strong with a drop kick and then a hard whip into the corner. Dream hits Strong with chops and kicks, then goes for a suplex. But Strong blocks with the ropes. Strong hits Dream with a thumb to the eye and finally gets the upper hand, hitting Dream with a huge penium backbreaker. Dream is in pain and he rolls out of the ring, writhing in pain and screaming. Strong follows, but Dream lays him out with a lariat. Strong drives Dream's lower back into the apron, but Dream answers by whipping Strong into the steel steps on the outside, and we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Strong has Dream in the headlock. Dream punches away at Strong's midsection and then hits a back body drop on Strong. Strong gets right back on the attack, and Dream and Strong trade blows. Dream goes to the Dream Valley Driver, but Strong escapes, and Strong and Dream's heads collide in the corner, sending both the men to the canvas. Strong and Dream are back up, and Dream takes Strong down with a shoulder tackle. He tosses Strong into the corner, then hits a penium backbreaker of his own on Strong. Dream runs the ropes, but Strong catches him with a strike. Dream hits a right hand on Strong, and then a snap DDT for a 2 count. Dream hits a double axe handle on Strong from the top rope, and then goes for the Dream Valley Driver again. Strong escapes, and Dream goes for the top rope, but Strong pushes him over, and Dream takes the top of the ring post right into the midsection, and Roderick Strong follows Dream to the top, and Dream picks up Strong for a Dream Valley Driver, but Strong escapes the fireman's carry and hits a avalanche backbreaker on Dream, covering him for only a 2 count. Continuing on, Strong goes for the end of Heartache, but Dream blocks. Strong hits a power bomb on Dream, and then locks in the stronghold. Dream reaches the bottom ropes and forces they break. Strong goes for the stronghold again, but Dream pushes Strong out of the ring with his feet, getting some breathing room. Strong gets to the apron and hits a sunset flip on Dream, but Dream rolls through and punches Strong and Dream trade punches while sitting on the mat. Both men to get to their feet and continue to trade blows. Dream catches Strong with a super kick and a Dream Valley Driver on Strong. Dreams takes off his pants and reveals tights underneath with Marina Shafir's picture on them, and Dream gets to the top rope and looks to dive onto Strong, but the rest of the Undisputed Era comes out anyway. Dream dives onto them on the outside and then gets back in the ring and hits a Dream Valley Driver on Strong, covering him for the victory, and Dream wins. And that's it. Immediately after the match, the Undisputed Era get in the middle of the ring and beat the living shit out of Velveteen Dream, ending the show with the Undisputed Era standing tall and looking very powerful. Now, with all that said, I'm going to mention this. And I did say a lot, and I read off a lot of what this person wrote in this article, which, by the way, his grammar seemed very crummy. I didn't particularly care for what he was saying, not to mention his dialogue was completely boring. I'm sure you guys were bored hearing me read through all that shit. If you didn't want to hear all that, you could have skipped through all that shit anyway and just got to the very end. Of course, if you watched the show, you wouldn't have to sit through all this. Anyway, if you really look at this, this whole thing with the Undisputed Era is becoming more and more weak. And Cole in the beginning of the show seemed more concerned about being the world champion than the rest of his members being world champions as well in their divisions. And I think that really blows. I think he should have been upset, despite the fact, even though he won his match and retained his title, should have been upset with Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish for not retaining the tag team titles. There was no frustration shown by Adam Cole, as if the prophecy meant nothing to him. At this point, it's just about him being world champion, fuck the rest of the team, and them being a dominant force within the NXT brand. I mean, granted, he still cares about being a dominant force in the NXT brand, but he doesn't really care about his other teammates still being champions in their respective divisions, which is where I kind of have a problem with. And I like the camaraderie that they did at the end of this with Velveteen Dream. They were trying to make sure that Velveteen Dream lost to Roderick Strong, giving him the ability to win this match, but unfortunately that was not the case anyway. But the beginning of the show, I do have to say, I wish there would have been some more harsh words by Adam Cole being upset at the fact that the tag team of their group did not retain their titles, and showing some sign of like urgency and concern, like a panic mode, that they're gonna lose all the championships because they only have one title left, and that's Adam Cole as world champion. So I kind of hope that they start, instilling that idea into this faction, because they are starting to run out of championships. The only thing left is the world title. Once they lose that, they've lost all control of NXT, and they're not exactly this dominant force anymore in NXT anymore. They're just another faction within this brand. And that's not how you want them to appear. You want them to appear with a sense of urgency that they need to get the titles back and get this team back on the right track. That's where I think they're kind of messing up with a storyline here with this faction group with the Undisputed Era. But otherwise, everything else seems to be very good. I don't know where they're going to go with Finn Balor at this point, leading into Tampa. I hope they give him something really good to work with. Maybe, some kind of meaningful match with someone. A world championship match, I don't think, is what needs to happen, but it might happen that way anyway, because of the fact you're seeing Adam Cole is getting closer and closer to breaking Finn Balor's record. Now, those two guys being tied together, I think, would be a good idea anyway. But at the same time, Velveteen Dream is also another threat to the Undisputed Era. So, I mean, either one you could really go with, but Finn Balor is technically a heel and Adam Cole's a heel. So, having both of them go at it at one another for the World Championship, I don't think would be a good idea at all. You want to make it a face versus heel type of situation. And Velveteen Dream has got a real big beef with the entire group of the Undisputed Era, because they all got him injured. They were all involved in his injury. So him being able to take them out one by one and then going after the world title and beating Adam Cole for it, I think would be a exclamation point to this storyline that they could build with Velveteen Dream. So he's probably the best bet to go with, outside of Finn Balor possibly, if they didn't want to go with Velveteen Dream in the first place. But I think they're probably going to go with Dream anyway, because it makes more sense, because he's got a beef with every one of them. They all injured him and put him on the shelf for a long while. So him actually having a run through the entire Undisputed Era faction would probably be the best bet and best thing to go with for them to finally have Velveteen Dream win the World Heavyweight Championship and defeat Adam Cole, baby. Anyway, guys, leave your comments and opinions down below. Hit the like button if you liked the video, and hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel, and I thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.